Stay hungry. You come far. You survived storms others couldn't even stand in. You've climbed higher than most even dare to look. But let me tell you something. Success is rented, and the rent is due every single day. Staying hungry means not being satisfied. It means you wake up every morning with something to prove, not to others, but to yourself. You grind not because someone is watching, but because that's who you are. You want as bad as you want to breathe. That's what staying hungry looks like. It's not about talent, it's about heart, effort, consistency. When others are sleeping, you're working. When others settle, you push. Because greatness isn't found in comfort, it's earned through sacrifice. And hunger, it's your fire. Keep it burning. Stay hungry, not just until you win, but even after. Because that's how legends are made. Never settle. It's easy to say, but living it, that's where the real challenge lies. Most people think once they hit a goal, once they buy the car, get the job, earn the degree, or build the business, they can finally relax, they can finally coast. But that's not how greatness works. Greatness doesn't care about what you did last year. Greatness doesn't respect your resume. It's always asking what's next. That's the hunger. That's what separates people who dabble in success from those who live in it daily. It's the understanding that every goal you hit is just a checkpoint, not the finish line. When you settle, you start to shrink. You start to lose that edge. And the truth is, when you lose your edge, you stop growing. And when you stop growing, you start dying. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, comfort zones are beautiful, but nothing ever grows there. So when you reach a level of success, the real question becomes, will you let it define you, or will you use it as fuel for your next climb? The problem is that society celebrates settling. It encourages you to find that sweet spot, that comfortable job with good pay, benefits, weekends off. And there's nothing wrong with that, unless you know deep down you were made for more. Settling becomes dangerous when it masks itself as satisfaction. That's a trap. People settle because they confuse stability with success. But if you're still waking up with ideas, if your heart still races when you talk about your vision, then you're not done yet. And if you pretend you are, if you pretend to be satisfied just to fit in or stay safe, then you're lying to yourself. The hunger doesn't care about applause. It doesn't care about likes or followers. It's a quiet, burning fire inside you that whispers, you can do more, you can be more, and you have to listen. Because when you stop listening to that voice, when you stop pushing, when you stop demanding more from yourself, you start becoming less than what you were made to be. Never settle. It's not just about ambition. It's about integrity. It's about honoring the gifts, the talents, the time you've been given. You don't grind every day just to prove something to the world. You grind because you know deep down that wasting your potential would be the ultimate failure. It's not about having more than others. It's about becoming everything you were meant to be. And becoming is never ending. There's always a next level. There's always another mountain. And that's not discouraging, it's empowering. Because that means you don't have to stop. You don't have to plateau. You don't have to accept good enough if greatness is still calling you. Think about the people who inspire you the most. Athletes, leaders, artists, entrepreneurs, the ones who keep evolving, the ones who never get comfortable. They reinvent themselves. They push boundaries. They stay students of the game. That's what never settling looks like. It's not restlessness, it's purpose. It's waking up every day and asking, how can I grow today? How can I lead better, serve better, love deeper, build stronger? Because here's the truth. Someone out there is grinding like their life depends on it. Because it does. Someone's waking up at 4 a.m. to chase the dream you keep putting off. Someone is learning the skill you're ignoring. Someone is building while you're relaxing. That's not to make you feel guilty. It's to remind you that time is real and it's passing whether you act or not. The idea is not to compare. The idea is to compete with yourself. Every single day, you're either feeding your future or starving it. And the difference is your decisions. Are you showing up or slowing down? Are you pushing forward or falling back? You get to decide that daily. Settling might feel like peace, but in the long run, it becomes regret. And regret is a heavy thing to carry. When you settle, you start trading dreams for distractions. You lose momentum. You start to drift. And that's how people end up stuck in jobs they don't love, relationships that drain them, habits that numb them, not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they settled. And look, life will test you. There will be losses, setbacks, betrayals, times when quitting feels like the only option. But in those moments, if you've trained yourself not to settle, you'll rise again. Because hunger doesn't die, it just waits for you to feed it. So whatever you do, wherever you go, never lose that fire. Don't let comfort kill your calling. Don't let success become a trap. Celebrate the wins, yes, but stay humble, stay driven, and above all, stay hungry. Because your best is never behind you, it's always ahead. And it's waiting for the version of you that refuses to settle. Discipline over motivation. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but this single mindset shift can change everything. People often wait for motivation to strike like lightning, thinking that once it comes, they'll finally do the work, chase the dream, fix the habit, or start the journey. But motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the wind. One day it's there and you feel on fire. The next is gone and you're left with nothing but excuses. If your progress depends on how motivated you feel, you'll never build anything that lasts. That's where discipline steps in. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't ask for your mood. It doesn't check the weather or your schedule or your emotions. Discipline says, this is who I am and this is what I do every single day. It's consistent, it's dependable, and it's built through repetition, not inspiration. The truth is, the most successful people in the world are not the most motivated, they're the most disciplined. They show up when it's hard. They push through when it's boring. They do the work when nobody's watching. That's discipline. When you rely on motivation, you rely on feelings. And feelings are unstable. Some days you wake up tired. Some days you feel discouraged. Some days life hits you hard. If you wait to feel good before you act, you'll never get much done. But when you have discipline, you act anyway. You go to the gym even when it's raining. You work on your goals even when you're frustrated. You study even when you'd rather relax. That's how growth happens. Not in the easy moments, but in the hard ones. Discipline is a commitment to yourself. It's saying, I'll keep going even when I don't feel like it because I made a promise to me. That builds trust with yourself. That builds character. It builds momentum. And that momentum starts to carry you through the days when you would otherwise quit. Discipline keeps the fire going when motivation burns out. Let's be honest, motivation is great when it's there. It gives you energy, it boosts your mood. But it's not reliable. It's like a spark. It can start a fire, but it can't keep it burning. Discipline is the fuel. It's the steady burn that keeps you moving forward, one step at a time, even when the excitement fades. You probably heard the phrase, fall in love with the process. That's discipline. Discipline doesn't just focus on the result. It focuses on the routine. It focuses on building systems and habits that keep you aligned with your goals. Motivation might get you to start, but discipline is what helps you finish. And not just finish once, but show up every day. Improve every day. Build something strong, something lasting. The challenge is that discipline often feels boring. It's not flashy. It's not exciting. It's repetitive. But that's the point. Repetition creates mastery. You don't become great by doing something once. You become great by doing it thousands of times, especially when you don't want to. Athletes, musicians, writers, entrepreneurs, they all train through boredom. They all grind through plateaus, not because they feel like it, but because they've trained themselves to be consistent, regardless of how they feel. And here's the beautiful part. When you embrace discipline, your life becomes simpler. You no longer debate with yourself every morning about whether or not to take action. The decision's already made. You no longer waste energy wondering if you feel like doing the work. You just do it. And that saves time, that saves willpower, that creates space for growth, creativity, and confidence. Discipline is also contagious. When you develop it in one area of your life, it starts to spill over into others. You start waking up earlier, eating better, managing time more wisely, improving relationships. You start becoming the kind of person others admire, not because of talent, but because of consistency. That's what earns respect. That's what builds leadership. Discipline isn't loud, but its results speak volume. Now, don't get it twisted. Discipline doesn't mean perfection. You'll still have off days. You'll still mess up, miss deadlines, skip workouts, get discouraged. That's human. But the disciplined person doesn't let failure become a habit. They get back on track quickly. They don't let one bad day become a bad week. That bounce back ability, that resilience is built through discipline. But let me just give a plug to the highest level of work, because discipline is decision. It's a hobby in life. And you want to start small, one habit, one change, one consistent action every day. Show yourself what you're capable of. When you stop waiting for motivation and start relying on structure, build routines that support your goals, create systems that eliminate distractions, cut the noise and focus on the work. Success requires sacrifice. That's the reality most people don't want to hear. They want to win without giving anything up. They want the dream life, the business, the body, the income, the influence, but they still want to sleep in, watch Netflix every night, hang out every weekend, and live without structure. But it doesn't work that way. You don't get everything without giving something. Sacrifice is the price tag for greatness. And until you're willing to pay it, success will remain a wish, not a reality. Everybody wants to shine, but few are willing to bleed for it. You have to give up comfort. You have to give up convenience. You have to let go of distractions, excuses, and even some relationships that no longer serve your vision. There's a reason why not everyone is successful. It's not because they can't be, it's because they're not willing to sacrifice what success requires. The late night, the early mornings, the missed parties, the quiet seasons, the grind when nobody's clapping for you. That's what it takes. You have to understand this. Every yes to success is a no to something else. You say yes to the gym, you say no to sleeping in. You say yes to building your business, you say no to binge watching. You say yes to your goals, you say no to procrastination. It's not punishment, it's alignment. It's about living in a way that matches what you say you want. If your actions aren't reflecting your ambitions, then your ambition is just noise. It's easy to talk about goals. It's easy to post about the grind. But the ones who actually get there are the ones who embrace the sacrifice. Not resent it, not complain about it, embrace it. They understand that pain today builds power tomorrow. That discipline today gives freedom later. That struggle now sets you up for strength in the future. They don't ask, what am I losing? They ask, what am I gaining? Sacrifice isn't just about things. It's about mindset. It's sacrificing doubt for belief, laziness for effort, fear for courage, pride for humility, and most importantly, short-term pleasure for long-term purpose. You have to train yourself to think bigger than the moment, because comfort will try to convince you that you deserve a break, even when you haven't earned it. And the more you give into that voice, the further you drift from your goals. Look at the people you admire, the legends, the pioneers, the high performers. They sacrificed time with family, normalcy, sleep, social lives. They didn't live like everyone else because they weren't trying to be like everyone else. They accepted that their path would be different, that it would be harder. But they also knew the reward would be greater. Sacrifice was never something they feared. It was something they respected because they knew it was necessary. If you want to elevate, you have to separate. Separate from the noise, from the crowd, from the habits that hold you back. You don't become the best by doing what everyone else is doing. You rise by doing what most people aren't willing to do. That's the sacrifice, the solitude, the self-discipline, the self-denial, the focus, relentless pursuit of your vision, even when it costs you something. And yes, sometimes sacrifice hurts. Sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes it's confusing, but it's always worth it. Not because the grind itself is enjoyable, but because of what it produces. Sacrifice sharpens you. It humbles you. It tests your character. It reveals how bad you really want it. Anyone can chase a dream when it's easy, but when the cost rises, when the sleepless nights stack up, when the pressure gets